Welcome to the AP Effect, the podcast, the podcast, the podcast, the podcast, the podcast, the podcast, the podcast.
Hey everybody, I'm Kaylin.
Hey y'all, it's Shalia.
Hey y'all, it's Destiny.
And welcome to the second episode of the AP Effect.
Yeah.
So I do want to mention that we do have a special guest today. Stay tuned to figure out who it is and to hear our interview. The topic for today is self-love and how it's the best love. So I just want to start today's episode with asking you, how do you guys define self-love and what does it mean to you?
Self-love to me is, loving yourself and loving all of your imperfection and just working on yourself and trying to become the best version of yourself.
I agree. I think self-love is really just being happy with your well-being, just being happy with yourself internally and externally, and just glow from the outside and inside.
Well, for me, self-love is being able to take care of yourself, make yourself feel good, and having the ability to put yourself first, not necessarily doing it all the time, but having the ability to say, I'm important and what I need to do is important.
Can I ask a question? So why do y'all think it's important to love yourself and put yourself first?
I feel like it's important to understand yourself and love yourself first before you try to even either love somebody else, because it's going to be harder for people or try to get people to understand you if you don't understand yourself.
Right.
I think that when it comes to putting yourself first, I feel like if you don't, a lot of people will walk over you or just take advantage of you. Because then you're going to be in situations where your energy isn't being reciprocated, or sometimes people just get in where they fit in. And if you're not loving yourself, they'll definitely just take advantage of you.
If you don't take yourself seriously, or if you don't care about yourself, how can you expect somebody else to take you seriously, right?
Great example. So when somebody is walking into a room, right,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody has on high heels, a very professional looking dress, maybe a blazer,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna look twice and be like, hold on, who is that? And automatically they have your respect, your attention because of their appearance. Versus somebody that walks in and they kind of have rags on, you just gonna be like, oh. When you have self-love and self-respect for yourself, people are gonna look at you different. People are gonna treat you different.
Right.
So like you guys said earlier, self-love, it affects all areas and aspects of our lives, like your hygiene, your relationship with others, your mental state, and your physical and emotional health. You know how there's different love languages from when you're in a relationship with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Those same love languages could go into how you love yourself. So quality time, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch, things like that.
One thing I just wanted to mention too is a lot when we talk about love languages, people go straight to relationships with other people. We fail to realize that you have a relationship with yourself too, and that's very important, because how could you have a relationship with another person and you don't have a good relationship with yourself? It just doesn't go hand in hand. But I definitely think my number one is quality time. I need my time alone. How do you even know yourself if you don't spend time alone? I don't know about you guys, but definitely spending all this time in the house, because we're all in quarantine. I definitely feel like I've gotten to know myself better, because we never had this much time alone, if that makes sense.
Right.
I feel like my top one is also quality time. I don't know. I just get so much joy out of being by myself. I just love being by myself. I love not being bothered. I don't know. I also would say receiving gifts. I actually have some packages coming for me today. That also stresses me out, because then well, dang, I just spent my money. It's gone.
Well, it's gonna come back.
It's gonna come back, but
shopping is another form of self-care, because it is, because sometimes this year we haven't been going anywhere, but if you want to dress up in a ball gown and go to Target, you can do that. If it makes you feel good, go ahead and do it.
Right.
And you know what, buying little things like a new body wash.
Yes. Right.
Or buying a new type of lotion. Just little things like that. Oh,
don't forget about the hair products, gang.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm a hair product junkie. You should see my bathroom. It's filled with hair products. There are self-love language quizzes that you can find on the internet.
Yes.
Find out what your self-love language is and how to best treat yourself when you feel like you just need a little pick-me-up.
You can just search up self-love quizzes, and they'll have a ton of them.
Just because you know your love language when you're in a relationship with someone else doesn't necessarily mean it's the same thing for when you're trying to care for yourself. Because
Right.
you might like when others buy you things, but you might not want to spend your own money. Stuff like that. So, like I mentioned before, we do have a guest speaker. Illustrate is the assistant program director of Aziza Peace. Aziza Peace is a nonprofit organization that empowers us all, children and other young adults, to become the best version of themselves. However, Illustrate is his own brand outside of the assistant program directors. So, Illustrate, if you could tell us and our audience about yourself, that would be great.
Yes. Hey, Illustrate.
Hey.
For joining us.
I am Illustrate. I am Assistant Program Director of Ziza Peace. I rap, sing, dance, poetry, produce, model, host, act, piano, drums. I recently taught myself guitar a little bit, and I'm teaching myself harmonica as well. So, yeah, on top of all that stuff, I do teaching and mentoring and public speaking, and I am all for the community.
Yes.
Wow, a man of many talents.
Yes, does it all. And we know Illustrate for a while. Like,
Yes, we have.
like, wow.
Yeah, since y'all was young, and I was
Right.
young.
Today's topic is self-love. So, like, what does self-love mean to you?
Self-love really means knowing and accepting both your good and your bad, and allowing yourself to learn more about yourself every day. You learn more about your good and more about your bad every day. You learn something new that you can do. I remember going out one day to a tennis workshop when I was younger. Never played tennis a day in my life, but I liked it and I picked it up and it was cool. And it's one of those things that I don't really do often, but I know, like, anybody get me on a tennis court, and I get warmed up, I might really be on it. And I can think of the times where I learned, like, you know what, that's not for me. I've had recent things of realizing I'm not the person to help every single person.
Mhm.
But in both of those things, I found my own self-love with, one, I have a talent, two, being able to recognize my limits, being able to recognize what I'm really wanting to give and able to give and willing to take from other people. So self-love is really just knowing your good, your bad, and what you're willing to take in order to appreciate yourself more.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like that definition. Because you do have some bad.
So, what do you already love about yourself?
Girl, where do I start? I love some me. Okay, first of all, I love just my journey and my growth. I've come from humble beginnings to less than humble beginnings to actually being able to be somebody, and through it all, I feel like it's manifested in a great way. I love, all of my talents and my mind. I feel like I'm a person that if I really want to do something, I just put my mind to it and I can do it. And I love that about myself. I pick things up. I'm a natural. This beauty about me, I don't know if it's the hair, or the tones, but there's just something that just I look in the mirror and like, yo, you used to look a little reptilian, now you looking a little majestic, looking a little Anubis-ish.
I have a question.
Go for it.
So, like, how did you build the confidence to just like put yourself out there to try those new things?
Right.
Like I said, it's a journey. I would say it's about attaching to each thing in your life. I feel like in each stage of my life, I found something else that I attached myself to be like, you know what, this is what I can be confident in. And because I conquered that other one, I can add this to the list.
Mhm.
From a kid, it was like reading. I was really bad at it at one point, and then I remember having to talk with my grandmother. Rest her soul, she was one of my best friends. And after that, I started excelling, and I was above my grade level in reading. And I used to hear that all the time, so I clung to that. And then after that, it was math. I was ahead in math, and my cousins were doing long division, and they were like 3 years older than me. So I was doing long division better than them, and I was like, I attached to that. Then I started dancing. Then I started doing piano, and I just attached those things and recognized my, those strengths about me. And the more I learned in them, and the more I had those people, and the more I realized, like, Dad, I'm kind of well versed in this.
Mhm.
That's what kind of gave me that confidence. Around 7th grade, I went to like a little dance camp, and I got me a little older girlfriend, whatever. And I was the only boy. It was like 3 boys, but I was really like the only one I really into it and committed. So that really brought a lot of my confidence out, because I can really note, like, after that, I was being a goofy old kid, and sitting there asking girls like what they go out with me randomly because I now had the confidence to just go out there and say something. But of course, had to refine that, dial it back. Because there's confidence and then there's just being annoying.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
I have a question about that too. Like, did you have people that try to test your character and like your skills and your talent? Like
All the time.
And if so, did it actually break you down?
Everybody has their lows.
Yeah.
I definitely had those times. I always say I got bullied a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, bullying can only go as far as you allow it. So while people may have like attempted to bully me, it was kind of more so like, oh, you just look like the TV bully guy. Like you don't look realistic to me. You look like you're just following a facade. So a lot of times I would call people out on that stuff or very much show that I didn't care. So, it's very minor, but I always say the people that bullied me my freshman year became my friends senior year. And over those years, like I remember one dude literally he was part of this crew that used to always mess with me, call me a pussy, all this other stuff. Like, and he came up to me one day, literally just like tapped my jaw. And I was just standing there like, really? Like, this real childish. Like, you didn't even really hit me for real. Like, you think I'm supposed to be intimidated by this?
Right.
I remember literally a month, maybe 2 later, we ended up at the same party talking about DJing and became friends.
Wow.
So while I've had those people try, oh, you're weird. I used to carry this people around in school. I was that guy. I was in my own zone. Like, if you bang on me, you bang on me. You don't.
Right, embracing yourself.
And if they had an issue, they had an issue. Hey, I mean, cool, you feel that way, and honestly, that became my bread and butter because by junior, senior year, when people just hanging out and they want to hear music, guess who got the speaker out?
Right.
Like, when it came down to, oh, this party dry. Oh, wait, Latik's here. Like, all the things that everybody was saying was weird or I'm doing too much or this, that, and the other ended up becoming the exact thing that everybody wanted down the road. So I just stuck with it.
Yeah, I think it's dope that you kept your love for like the arts all these years because I know like teachers and, like they try and discourage you from like following your passion with that because I remember when I was in elementary school, like I still can draw, but like I was like really into the arts and I told them I was like, yeah, like I want to be an artist. And it's like, oh, well, artists don't make that much money and this, that, and the third. And they always try and discourage you for that. So for you to follow your passion and keep going with that, I think that's really dope.
Yeah, and don't listen to that. I recently heard a line from Big Sean. He said, quit music and finish school gotta be the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life because it's not about, school versus not school.
Mm-hmm.
It's about your path. And I feel like my path, honestly, I always felt like I could do it all. So my path was always to do it all, was always to do both, was to be educated and be an artist, was to get good grades and be able to be a good dancer. Like, there's no reason they have to be separate things.
Right.
There's no reason you can't pursue an artistic career and still make sure that you're paying your bills and taking care of your life.
Right.
That's why I work with AP. AP is where I can come, but I can also incorporate my art. And it's supported by, my profession.
I know we do follow you on Instagram and you did release another book. And I wanted if you wanted to share on that.
So this is my second book.
Congratulations.
I put out my first book September 11th. Mm-hmm. So, 6 months, I feel kind of cool about that. This is the more adult book. This is the 18 and up book. The first one is more family friendly. It's great poetry. I love it. The release event was great. It was very supportive. It was nice, intimate little gathering. And we had some of the AP models there. I had a performance from somebody in LA.
Wow.
I had a guitarist. It was just great. So please go check me out. If you follow me on Instagram and all that stuff. My Instagram is illustrate_ILLESTRATE.
So I heard you mention earlier that you had to go on a journey in order to, kind of accomplish the level of self-love that you have for yourself now. I was wondering if you felt comfortable sharing just a little bit of that journey.
So when I was in elementary school, like I said, I always dealt with having talent and, kind of being a smart kid, but that doesn't always translate with other kids and in social settings. So I did kind of deal with being the smart kid that not everybody liked at some point. and then having to learn social skills and learn, all right, cool, I can be smart, but I don't have to make other people feel like they're not smart. Like I can boost myself and not down them. And then I would say like to kind of skip forward. I had like a period in middle school. I was kind of real nerdy and just kind of did my own thing. Wasn't so worried about girls besides like my little crushes or whatever. And then in high school, that's when things, really start setting in and you start finding out who you are and life starts to be like, oh, I might have to do that soon, or a car or a licensed job. And around that time, being in an art school and being in a vocal program and being the one of two Black kids in it, it came with a lot of stigmas and questions of sexuality or once again, the weird thing and all that stuff. But the journey of, all right, I'm pushing every day to work and get these grades, and I'm still in a school that I had to audition in, and watching what's going on in the rest of the world with watching, I remember when Trayvon Martin got shot. That was one big thing for me of like, yo, I walk through a county every day, 6 a.m. in the morning, because I had to get to the bus by 6:30 so that my bus can take me 30 minutes to my school.
Wow.
So that's like every day I'm in the same exact situation yo is. I could be walking and some white dude see me at 6 o'clock in the morning, like, what is he doing?
Right.
And I could be the very next one. And there was a lot of moments like that in high school and since then that have been real big to me. My homelessness at age 21 really opened my eyes to a lot of things of minimalism, survival, the true value of life and materials and things like that. And it's put me in a space now where I'm very content. I feel like, what's the goal of life? People say success, but what is success? I think it really comes down to happiness, like self-happiness.
Yes.
And I find that self-love through searching for that self-happiness, finding what I want to make me happy, seeing what doesn't make me happy, finding the people that make me happy and the people that don't. And that journey of collecting, trial and error. I'm telling you guys, trial and error. You're gonna fail sometimes, baby. It's gonna hurt. It's really gonna hit you to your core sometimes, but you need it. You need it. You need to overcome it because you have to show yourself each time that each time you're gonna get better. You're not gonna get it right away. The second time, it may feel just like the first. Right. I guarantee you the fifth won't. It's about keeping that going, and every time it gets better. We talked to Romir recently, and he was really doubtful about like what we do and like, yo, if we've been doing the same thing, how is it supposed to change? His exact question was, so we're supposed to get better by the mentoring and the teaching and all of that, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, haven't we been doing that for forever?
Wow.
I was like, kind of, we've been doing that, but in different ways. He was
right,
like,
definitely.
He was like, but ain't that the definition of insanity? And it's like, I have to really stop and think, because when we talk to our brothers and our sisters about stuff like that, and they come at us like that, we really have to think about where they're coming from.
Right.
He's correct, and that's something that we hear all the time. What he doesn't realize is that we're not getting the same result.
Definitely not.
What it looks like the same result. Media makes it look like the same result because they keep blasting the same result in your face.
Right.
They don't show you any other results. If you have 10 classes, but I just keep showing you the F in one, and I never show you that you got B's in the rest, what are you going to focus on? That F. So that's, and I had to tell him, like, but you don't realize they make it look like an F, but you've been at the bottom going from F all through to F, D, D, F, F to F, D, D, C, C, C. Like, we're taking those steps. So we have some power, we have some control to change the narrative of the mental slaves that we are, and I definitely think that that's what we need to start doing.
And I definitely think that, like, with that situation, a lot of the time it's not going to happen right overnight. Like, you can't give somebody some advice and then they take it the next day. It's not like that. It's like things come with time and patience. Like, a lot of the time you'll give somebody some advice and they're not there yet in life. So,
right.
Like, they may come to you like 2 years later and be like, that's what you were talking about, because they had to sit and let it resonate with them.
Right.
So it's not no overnight process. So I definitely hear you on that.
And honestly, to expect great change in your lifetime is selfish. Because your life is yours to live, but it is also a part of others. And to say like, oh, if I don't get changed now, then what's the point? That's mad selfish. You have to be the change now so that something can change later.
And sometimes it's bigger than you. Like, all these problems in the world, like, it's not going to take one man just to change everything. Like, it's bigger than every one of us. So, like, if you have a platform and you can influence, maybe like you have a platform, you're talking to 50 people and you can influence one person, that's what matters. It doesn't matter, if everybody doesn't get the message, because not everybody's ready to receive it,
I agree.
I just have one more question before we wrap up the interview. Do you have any advice for like our viewers of how they can start to change their way of feeling about themselves right now?
My advice would be realize that you can't do it right now. My advice would be realize that it is going to be a hard, sometimes long path. But you have to start. And it starts with those habits. It starts with those thoughts. Once you're conscious, once you have thought that says, dag, wait, maybe I should change, keep it attached to it. Run it back a few times. And what will happen is, in those moments, when you have that decision of whether or not you will make that change or stay the same, what you'll hear is your own voice saying, oh yeah, that's right, I did say I want to change that, didn't I? This is the opportunity right here. Am I going to make the decision? Because I'm conscious of it now. And honestly, a lot of times you think that, you'd be like, dang, how stupid I would really be not to listen to myself telling me this.
Thank you so much for coming on to our podcast and, just sharing your story and giving us some pointers on how we can love ourselves, how our viewers can love themselves.
Of course. Oh, and I have a question for y'all.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
What are y'all watching right now? What's when somebody's like, hey, what I gotta watch? What's the first thing you like? Oh my God, girl.
New Girl. Watch New Girl right now. Go watch it. All 7.
Seen it.
Okay.
Go somewhere.
This show on HBO called The Outsider is pretty good.
Okay, gonna check it out. I'm on HBO right now. Shirley.
Okay, I'm watching Criminal Minds. I've been watching Criminal Minds. I just get so happy when I watch. Okay, I know it's about murder and stuff, but I just don't care watching Criminal Minds sometimes.
Oh,
my pick for everyone, because I just watched it for the second time. Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
I was actually looking at that.
Watch it.
I'm telling you guys, once you watch that, I'm trying to have a AP watch party. See if we can have a watch party at the building, like next week. So when I get back from my birthday trip.
Oh, exciting!
Oh, happy
yes.
birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday!
Accepting all cash app.
Got you.
Accepting all love and hugs.
Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you too. He is a great person. Like every single time he talks about anything, it's always like something new and something different. The closing question I want to ask everybody: what do you value about yourself?
Well, I really value the way my mind works because I feel like I'm pretty wise for my age. I feel like I have a more mature way of thinking than, a lot of the people that I talk to or I hang out with. And I try to get them to understand what I'm talking about, but it's just like they just don't get it. So I'm just like, well, they might not be where I am right now, but they'll get there eventually and they'll understand what I was saying. I value my personality because there aren't a lot of genuine people out there, and I find myself to be one of those rare, genuine people. So consider myself to be
You definitely can.
I consider myself to be a hidden gem,
A hidden gem.
Yes, and I will explain why. Because I'm a great person, and I know that. But you gotta find me. A lot of people don't know about me, so they gotta find me and figure it out. I'm a hidden gem.
Okay. Oh, you don't know about Kayla? Oh, you missing out.
Right.
You know, okay? I would definitely say my mentality as well. Like, me and Kay are cousins, so it just kind of goes, together. But mentality, I feel like I have a lot of wisdom for my age, and I can say that I have a good heart, and that's something that I learned from my mom, because my mom is a very good woman, and I feel like I picked up on that as well. Y'all know I'm a very determined person.
You are.
Like, if I don't get it, then I'm still going to keep trying until I do get it.
Yes.
And I'm always busy. I'm always working towards something. I'm always doing that. So Like, even though I always, like, sometimes, you know, you can get discouraged and stuff, but that's normal. And I try and push past that. I feel like I'm a very determined person. And my personality, I feel like I never did change my personality to fit in with anybody. So I value that about myself.
Like, that's Shalia is Shalia. You can't describe her compared to anybody else. Shalia is Shalia.
We've been this way forever. We've always had the same personality. It's never changed.
Who needs to fit in when it's Kaylin and Shalia?
And I feel like that's why I gravitate more towards y'all, because I'm still learning how to love myself and actually trying to be my authentic self. And like knowing y'all for a while, it's like y'all never changed. Y'all always had that same personality from middle school or high school.
Oh, damn.
But I feel like what I value about myself is patience. Patience can be, I feel like it's a good thing and a bad thing in my opinion, because it's like sometimes you don't need to wait for anybody. But at the same time, it's like, you know, everybody's not perfect. And that's one thing I have to learn about myself. Is like, I can't be perfect. I can't be a perfectionist. I can't get everything right the first time.
I feel like all three of us are open-minded.
Yeah.
But you forgot one thing, because your personality, you may be like on a little, she be acting so normal in front of people. Like, look, on the down low, that's like, you look away, that's just break dancing in the corner somewhere. I'm like,
don't even. Because it's like, I have to be comfortable around you, because I feel like growing up, I always try to fit in and just act quote unquote normal. But it's like, Destiny, embrace that. Just embrace it. But I wonder how to do that.
Just to close things out, I just have one more question for you guys. Do you guys have any advice for anyone who is struggling with self-love and putting themselves first?
You know, you can't do it right now. It happens over time. So I would just focus on yourself, but don't be too hard on yourself. Like, acknowledge it at least, and then over time, like, gradually put actions behind it. Don't rush at the same time, because, you know, you're at your own pace.
I definitely agree. I think that, you know, all good things take time. And just trust the process. Like, I know some days it may be hard. Like, I catch myself working to death. Like, I'm a workaholic, so I work, and I forget to take time to myself. And it's okay to, like, take that day off and just spend the day, like, relaxing, going to go get a massage, doing something like that. Because at the end of the day, your sanity, your mental health, your self-love, that's what's going to matter. You know, like, that's what your relationship to yourself looks like. So that's very important.
I agree with all of the advice you said. I also just want to say, like, it's okay to fall back into your old habits. It's okay, because that's going to happen.
Right.
You have to accept the fact that that's going to happen. But no matter how many times you may fall back into those old habits, you have to get back up again and, you know, just keep striving for better.
I really did enjoy this episode.
Me too.
I like illustrate him being a part of the podcast, having like a good interview, and his like thoughts and opinions when it came to self-love.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode.
Yes, thank you. Definitely tune in next week, every Friday, remember, at 12 p.m. Hope to see you guys next week.
And we are
the AP Effect. See y'all. Have a great week.